So she was found right over here? Like
off
right
into
over there?
this area right over here. You see some debris back there in the overgrown brush area.
In the early summer of 2017, hikers discovered a body on the side of the highway just south of Baltimore. It was decomposed beyond recognition.
Her remains were just bones, really, at that point.
Skeletal remains.
For months, authorities had no idea whose remains they had found, until a radical new technology finally gave a face to their Jane Doe.
City police filed murder charges in the case of a 26-year-old woman who vanished 8 months ago.
Investigators say DNA evidence helped them to identify her remains.
The technology is called DNA phenotyping, developed by Parabon Nanolabs. From just a small sample of DNA, they can create a composite image of what someone could look like, a vital clue that eventually led to Shaquana Caldwell's identification and the arrest of her killer, Taurus Caldwell. He pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 30 years in prison.
What kind of impact do you think that this technology will have on forensics long term?
Here we have another avenue we can explore if we run into dead ends along the way.
We're essentially bringing in entirely new ways to analyze forensic DNA. Traditional forensic DNA analysis looks just at, can this DNA from a crime scene be matched to a suspect we've already identified or to a database? But if you don't find a match, it couldn't tell you anything else. We can generate leads just from the DNA that's at that crime scene.
Parabon started to offer forensic services to law enforcement in 2015. Since then, they've assisted in over 40 cases.
Police arrested Justin Hansen on new DNA evidence, which they say links him to the brutal beating of Brittany Marcel.
After the assault, 17-year-old Brittany Marcel was put into a coma. She lost all memory of the attack, leaving detectives with just one piece of physical evidence, a single drop of blood. For the next 10 years, the case went unsolved, until Marcel recalled a name, Justin Hansen. With that drop of blood, Parabon produced this phenotype, linking Hansen to the crime, a suspicion confirmed later with an additional DNA match. He was sentenced to 18 years in prison. And in Texas, after exhausting their leads in the search for Rhonda Blankenship's killer, police released this composite to the public. A number of tips led them to consider Ryan Derek Riggs as a potential suspect, an acquaintance of Blankenship, but someone who wasn't even on their radar. About a week later, Riggs confessed to investigators.
A lot of the cases we work, it turns out that they had some information that was leading them in a particular direction, and our information completely redirects. You're not looking for a person of that description, you're looking for a person of this very different description, and once they pivot and start going down that road, they can find that person.
Our DNA carries a specific instruction set for an individual's physical characteristics. With only a small sample, Parabon can pull from tens of thousands of genetic variants to predict what a person looks like.
So basically, we're predicting where the face falls on different facial dimensions in what we call face space. And so this all just comes out of some math that we do on face data. And as the numbers change, it's showing different possible faces. So there's a wide variety of possible faces that could be predicted.
That looks like you.
That is me. This may not be my driver's license image, but if I were...
It's pretty close.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The service costs about $3,000, but the results can mean authorities spend less time and manpower to solve a case. The composites do have limitations, though. For instance, DNA doesn't reveal a person's age, so to compensate, Parabon estimates what the person would look like at present day based on how long ago the crime was committed. And it is simply a guide. The phenotype alone cannot lead to a conviction.
It's the kind of stuff from a sci-fi movie. You know what I mean?
The phenotyping is definitely very sci-fi.
Are there any privacy concerns, or what are the moral implications of all of this?
Well, with DNA phenotyping, we're only predicting things that the person makes public every day when they go outside, their eye color, their hair color. We're not looking at any medical information or anything like that. And then with genetic genealogy, all the research that we do is public information.
Along with phenotyping, genetic genealogy is being used as another tool Parabon and law enforcement agencies are using to catch criminals and close cold cases. By searching a public database of DNA, genealogists can work backwards in a family tree, narrowing the search for a suspect.
Going forward, the number of cold cases will decrease, and also active cases can potentially be solved more quickly. Cases
before they even become cold cases.
Exactly. Cases won't have to go cold.